Welcome, everybody. I hope that you can see me and hear me. My name is Bonnie Atwood, and this is a webinar given by Virginia Professional Communicators. And I'm so happy to have you here. This has been a very interesting process for me. Gail has helped, Jessica has helped, and we're learning all about the brave new world and how to do webinars. Please, when you see a glitch or a little typo, be kind, since we're at the very beginning. And don't think, oh gosh, that's so sloppy. Here's what I want you to think. I want you to think, wow, if she can step up and try something that's hard for her, then I can too. And you can. We're going to see lots of webinars in the future by all of you who want to do them. Now, I want to try to figure out if you can hear me, and the way that you can tell me that is by going to your chat box. Do you see on the left of your screen a blue square, little icon with some lines through it, that when you hit it, when you go to it, it says chat? Do you see that? And if you do, please click on it. Oh, okay, I'm being told that it's red. On what you see is a red box. What I see is a blue box. If you can hit that little red box, I hope to see some chatty people on my screen. I'll give you a few minutes to kind of play with that and get settled in for our presentation. Just anytime you want to do that, just go ahead and press that, although please save any longer questions or comments to the very end. Okay, let's begin. Let's begin by me getting you see my face now, this is me. I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint slides. So give me a couple of seconds to do that. I'm a real rookie at this. Okay. Okay, what I see on my screen is what I hope you see. It's an introductory slide. It says, "Eat before you go, how to work a reception." And that title is very important to me because it has to do with the main takeaway here, which you're going to hear me express in various ways throughout, which is that when you go to a reception, with few exceptions, when you go to a reception, you've got work to do. It is not playtime. Now, a little bit more about me. My company is Tall Poppies Freelance Writing, LLC, where ideas take root, grow tall, and pop. I am both a lobbyist and a freelance writer. That's a kind of an interesting combination. Welcome to Tall Poppies, where ideas take root, grow tall, and pop. Please leave a message for Bonnie Atwood. Sorry if you're hearing some background noise. I think someone's calling in on my voicemail. Okay. I am a lobbyist, which puts me into many, many, many receptions. I have represented many clients over the past almost 20 years. I currently represent the retired teachers of Virginia, although I am not retired and I've never been a teacher. But I've learned sort of the reception game, and I want to teach you some things that I have learned. Now ask yourself if you are this person. A lot of people are going into a party or any kind of gathering. You can't find anybody to talk to. You're just kind of out there. You're worried about how to hold your food plate, and you can't read the name tags. You're afraid of getting stuck with someone who's terribly boring, and the worst fear of all, what if I am the boring person? You're not going to be the boring person. Let's allay those fears. All right, this is my little bio that I went through before, so I won't tell you that all again. This is why I go to a lot of receptions. Now, some of these receptions are outdoors and picnic areas and very informal, and people are dressed down. Most of the ones that I go to are more formal than this. I'm going to show you a few reception slides. I have to give my props to two individuals. One is my mother, who is represented on the left by this hostess guide and party diary. She was a stickler for etiquette, and she has taught me very much. Another person that I admire, you may recognize the name Judith Martin. She wrote a marvelous book called The Name on the White House Floor. She covered White House receptions. This book is hysterical. It's old, but maybe you can get a copy. It's very, very funny. She went on and made a name for herself as Miss Manners, the syndicated columnist. Okay, what is a reception anyway? A reception is all about communication. It is speaking, both formally and informally. A reception has a purpose. There is always a purpose. Even if the purpose is just to celebrate accomplishing some other purpose. And what you do at a reception is showcase your social capital. What is your social capital? That is extremely important. It's a phrase I don't hear very much. It happens to be your most valuable asset. It is the relationships that you have, and it is your reputation. It's actually, as a professional, it is your most important thing. All right, we're going to kind of walk through being invited to a reception. The more meaty part is at the end of this presentation, so bear with me. This is kind of fun, though. I want you to consider the invitation, because the invitation will tell you a lot. It'll tell you how formal, and you have to read between the lines sometimes. It will tell you what the reception is going to be like. Here's some examples. You see one that looks almost like it's calligraphy, and then you see, one that's just kind of this graduation party on a yellow postcard. So you've got to take your cue from that, and that's very important in how you respond, in how you dress, and in how you plan. All right, that reminds me of my very best party I've ever given so far, which was a 95th birthday party for my mother. It was a formal luncheon at a church fellowship hall. This is what the invitation looked like. I don't think you can read the fine print, but you see it's a formal looking invitation. You have a well-dressed, obviously woman that's going to be elderly, and I have asked for RSVPs. I have a phone number there. And most people came and followed my lead. I had place cards and everything, linen tablecloths. 2 individuals didn't even RSVP. There's gaps in the tables where I was going to seat them. Don't do that. Take your lead from the invitation. All right, when you respond, and you always respond, do it promptly. Do it in the same way that you were invited. If it's just, if it was just an email, then yes, you can send an email back. If you cannot go, don't tell them your life story and all your woes. Just say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to come. Always call if you have questions. Do not bring extra guests, even your spouse, unless the invitation says another person's, your spouse's name, or says plus guest. Do not bring your children or pets. And if you find out it's okay to bring children or pets and they misbehave, just take them out. If you have a gift, try to drop it off ahead of time. This is old school, but I still believe in it. It's disconcerting to be welcoming people and then have a bunch of people bring large gifts. All right, purpose. I alluded to this earlier. Your most important takeaway. You have to determine your purpose. Is it a day of relaxation? Sometimes. Usually the receptions we're going to talk about, there's a serious purpose. Like, look, you need a job. You need some clients. I threw the boyfriend in just for fun. Often you go to a reception to advocate for a cause. Often you go to raise money for a cause. Here's the last one, and I hope you can see it on your screen. It's a little hard to see. Don't go just to get free dinner. Do not do that. No, no, no. Okay. As I said, receptions are serious work time. You can get a lot done in a reception. You can get as much done during a reception in that 1.5 hours of networking as you can do sometimes in 3 months of lobbying or cold calling or running yourself to death trying to meet people and talk to people. Or on the flip side, you can ruin yourself. So that's what we're not going to do, because we're going to know how not to do that. You're going to figure out your purpose. It's a working reception. We'll just stipulate that. Learning how to work the reception is a skill. You may never look at a reception the same way again. after this. All right, you've heard the term soft skills. I'm not real crazy about the term soft skills because it kind of implies less important skills. But you are going to use your soft skills a lot at the reception. Soft skills are personality traits, social graces, effective communication, friendliness, optimism. These are things people like. Qualities that not only impress other people, but make them feel comfortable with you. I read some statistics recently that communication is conveyed 55% by face, 38% by voice, and only 7% by words. It's kind of startling if that is true. We hear the phrase lean in now. I've kind of been studying that. To look good at your reception, don't lean forward or back. Just focus on the person you're talking to. Don't use your hands too much, and certainly don't point. When you have time, we're not going to do this now, but you might want to look up proxemics, which was kind of a new word for me. That's one of the studies of nonverbal communication. It's very interesting, and I think there's a lot to be learned. Okay, guess what you're going to get at the end? And you have to stay with me to the end to find out. This is your incentive to stay with me. My 3 worst faux pas. Yes, they were pretty bad, but I've lived to tell about them. Okay, your preparation. Okay, know your agenda. Do not go in cold. Be intentional. Know your reason. Know your consistent message. Why should anyone listen to your message at all? And read today's paper, not just the Daily Show. Please, please, please. Even read, some people say read things that you're not interested in, but if you're a generalist, it's kind of your job to be interested in everything. Look at it that way. Okay, here's reasons you might go. You're looking for a lover. We're not covering that. That's my next course. Finding a job or changing a job. Big reason. Finding clients or business partners. Lobbying. That's real heavy hitting. You're seeking the power players. Fundraising. You're seeking those who can help the most. That means people with money or people who know how to raise money. And here's a good one. Recruiting members for VPC. Forget about fun. You're going to smile, you're going to enjoy yourself, you're going to like meeting people, but you are not there to have fun. Here's the world's most famous party crashers. The Salahi couple, remember them? They crashed the White House. I love her dress. But I will say, crashing is one thing that I'm telling you not to ever do. As a teenager, I did it. I'm guilty. I went with my girlfriends and we would say we're with the band. That's always a good way to get in. But you're not going to crash, either by showing up where you're not invited or by talking about an issue that is drastically different from the issue favored by your host or hostess. That's another way to crash. And you can really ruin your reputation if you do that. That is stealing. All right, getting dressed. I'm going to go through this kind of fast. Here are some fun rules to look at. DC and Richmond, they're pretty conservative. New York City, they like to wear black until something darker comes along. The men's rule, I got this from the Boy Scouts. There's Class A, which is your best uniform. There's Class B, which is more your khakis and golf shirt. I have a friend named Ken who has done a whole write-up on how he got tricked into wearing the wrong men's clothes to a reception, but I'll let him do that webinar. The doctor's rule, kind of be good not to wear your white coat, because to tell you the truth, a lot of people think that's kind of funny. The women's rule, which is where, for a long time, it was wear a navy blue suit. You can break that rule. The Julie and Tricia Nixon rule, don't dress like an ice cream cone. The Bonnie Atwood rule, not too much skin. No cleavage, please. You are not at the beach. The Michelle Obama rule is you don't have to be austere. She dresses beautifully. All right, this is a friend of mine at a reception. That's a nice outfit. She is going to get respected. Now, this young woman I like very much. She's cute as a button. But she went to this reception needing a job offer. She did not get it. She did not get a job offer. And I heard people saying they sort of thought she was staff and didn't realize she might be wanting a job offer. So think about your dress. Okay. I don't want to talk a whole lot about clothes, but I put together this fun list of if you like reading about clothes. This is kind of some historical stuff, which you can get later from the slide. Notice the last one, the impact of the transgender movement. That's a story that is unfolding in our lives. We don't know what cultural changes are coming. General rules. Men, don't wear your hats. Don't wear jeans unless it's a picnic. Same tank tops. Never wear leggings. Don't look like a hippie. That's sort of not taken seriously. Try not to carry a purse because you're going to want to have your hands free. Tara Moore, who is one of these business coaches that I like, says dress can be a vehicle for slaying old ideas. And here's the most important one. A mobile device is not an accessory. Oh, who are these cute women? There they are, looking good at a reception. There's my law school reunion. There's me looking good, using my hands a little too much. Solids, better than prints. Blue, there is science behind this. Blue draws people to you. They have tested and found out it is people's favorite color. Let's go with blue. Simple but festive. Smile is your best accessory. I got that from Wendy Williams. More smiles. There's the Virginia Association of Professional Lobbyists, looking good. Let's talk about some jewelry. Not too much talking about it, but I think a general rule is unusual jewelry is a good discussion point, but don't overdo it. There's my jewelry box. All right, here's the scary part. Trigger warning. Everybody in my focus group told me to delete the next slide. I did not delete it. Why? I want you to think about some things. It is possible to commit social suicide by something as small as a lapel pin. So If you want to go get a drink of water during the next slide, do so. Lapel pins. Here's a whole bunch of them I just gathered up and laid out to look at. Some of them you would not want to choose to go to some certain receptions. Let's move along. Okay, a tiny word about high heels. Just be comfortable. You're going to be on your feet. The main thing is just, some people like to wear high heels, but the main thing is you want to be able to walk around. You want to feel good. You don't want to walk around like your feet hurt. You don't wear shoes that are going to make you go sit on the sidelines, because you're losing a chance to talk to important people. All right, enough with clothes. Do homework before you go. This is a book that I read before I go to a reception. There's the governor, top guy on the left. It's got all the legislators. It's got the jurisdictions they represent, the name of their legislative aides, the spouses' names, and so on. I keep this in the car, and if I'm going to a reception and I know kind of who's going to be there or who I want to talk to, I sit there and I get my thoughts together and I read up on the person ahead of time. Or you can look at LinkedIn or the person's website. If you haven't done your homework, you can do some awful faux pas. You may have heard Kathy Lee Gifford said to Martin Short, "How's your wife?" Well, his wife had just died, and she should have known that. So that was a very awkward thing. So I sit in the car and I look at the book. This is kind of like what I just said. Figure out who you want to meet. Are you one of the constituents? What are this person's pet projects? What are you going to ask this person to do for you? That you're going to need to have thought through ahead of time. Okay, arrival time. All right, here I'm going to get into my philosophy that I don't know about you, but my workplace is still a man's world. And so there's certain rules that I follow because I'm always walking the line between confidence and arrogance. I think for men who are watching this webinar, the rules are good for you too. Don't arrive early. Why? That sounds good, arriving early. Don't arrive early. The reason is you're going to be perceived as staff. And if you're a woman, you're probably instinctively going to say, "Oh, can I help?" Don't say that and don't help. You will be perceived as staff. And once these power players perceive you as staff, they cannot get that out of their heads. On the other hand, do not arrive late because you're losing time if you arrive late. You are there to work. You're not there to make friends or to help. You're there on business. Okay, name tags. I personally don't like name tags. I kind of feel like with name tags, we don't work as hard on learning the person's name in our heads forever. But if you are going to use a name tag, make sure, if you're writing your name, make sure it's big enough to read. Notice the bottom one is, you can't even read the name. So it's of no use. All right, remember I said eat before you go? This is why. You're not going to be eating at the reception. You're not going to have time, and eating is messy. Look at this. Do you want people that you're trying to impress to watch you eat that? I think not. It's hard to eat with plastic forks, especially if it's a salady type thing. If you have special diet needs, don't worry about them because you're not going to eat. You just don't have time. Worst case scenario, drinking too much alcohol. Maybe you want to drink in your hand just to help you, feel more relaxed. Okay, if you want to do that, but just watch it. The worst reception I ever attended was when people dropped food all over the floor, were ice skating on melon balls. It's horrible, horrible, horrible. Okay, I know, it looks good. Breakfast, I might eat a little something if it's breakfast. Coffee and juice. Eat before you go. Just don't even look at the food. Don't carry around resentments. Don't go home and say, they didn't have anything there I can eat. Just don't eat. All right. When you spend a lot of time in the food line, the people who are used to receptions know that you're new, because the ones that are there to work don't do that. Food's messy. You don't want to worry about spinach in your teeth, and so forth. Okay, this is a photograph I took at a reception. There was wine served, but when I take photographs, I make sure the wine glasses are not in the picture. This happens to be a group of Methodists. They don't want pictures of themselves holding wine glasses. Same with legislators. Just don't even think about possibly getting them into an embarrassing situation. There's some more Methodists. Okay, and politicians, no. All right, handshakes, eye contact, posture, and PDA, public displays of affection. I'm not going to talk about that a lot. You need a good firm handshake. I don't much like a handshake where you put your other hand on top of theirs. That's a little bit flirty, but some people like it. Okay, you're going to do all these things, but you're going to get to the power players. There are some power players, I know. You got to have your focus. There they are. All right, who's this guy? I don't know if you can see that real well. That's a fellow that was in my bicycle repair class in about 1970 in Washington, D.C. His name was Carl Bernstein. Does that ring a bell? Well, that was a long time before he was the famous reporter covering Watergate. He was just a cub reporter at the Washington Post when he was in my class. I was impressed with him because I knew I was going to be a reporter. I didn't have any reporter credentials, I just knew it. And so we're sitting around in the class, and he looked at me and he said, "What do you do?" Well, I didn't want to sound too sure of myself because we as women are always trying to avoid that. So I just gave him a matter-of-fact answer. I'm a payroll clerk at the home juice company. He looked for me, stared at me like 30 seconds, and then just yanked his head away to the next girl. And he asked her, "What do you do?" And she said, "I'm studying environmentalism." And his reaction was, "Wow, that is so cool. Tell me all about that." Well, I was mad at Carl for quite a while, but I also am mad at myself for not having an interesting elevator speech. And I'm kind of learned to present myself in a more interesting way. Okay, how do you do that? Well, let's start by what things are you not going to talk about? You're not going to be negative and whiny and talk about how hard your job is, because everybody thinks their job is even harder than yours. Don't talk about your health. Please don't. Don't talk about your pregnancy. Don't show a whole bunch of pictures of your children or grandchildren. Don't talk about how many reps you did at the gym. Don't talk about your divorce, your money, or your political beliefs. Don't talk about sex. Do not be a walking resume. And do not be boring. Okay, what's left after all those don'ts? All right, openings. You know, there's nothing wrong with just saying, "Hi, my name is Bonnie Atwood. I'm here representing Virginia Press Communicators. What's your name?" There's nothing wrong with the simple thing, simply introducing yourself. Compliments are good. Everybody likes a compliment. If it's a sincere compliment, don't go on and on about it. Just a simple, sincere compliment. Women kind of bond this way over, "Oh, that necklace is real cute." With men, it's, you know, the bonding is about sports. It really is. Okay, now we're getting into some dangerous territory. I have always used, "Where did you grow up?" Or "Did you grow up in this area?" Now that we have all this talk about microaggression, that has made the list of dangerous things to ask, because it's sort of, you know, people interpret it as, "Are you a foreigner?" or something. I don't want to get too carried away with that, but just, you know, try to be sensitive. "What is your occupation?" Nothing wrong with saying that. Unless you say it to the governor, don't say that. Okay, tell me about yourself. This is a good one. I learned this from my pastor. That's what he would say to people. I like it. It usually works very well. "Tell me more." People love that. "Did you have a good day?" That usually works real well. Okay, small talk. Some people put down small talk, but we all have to use small talk. Humor is good. Humor is great. Storytelling is great. Here's another thing. They've done science on this, that there's certain parts of the brain that sort of click on when you hear a story. It's a very good way to convey your message. Try to filter yourself, please, and just, you know, it's hard, but the main rule, if I had to boil it down to one, is don't put anybody down. Don't put any groups down. Try to be mentally agile. If you see that your story is just plain not going over, try to end the story and go to something else. And it does get easier, and no one is perfect. All right, just a few other danger zones. In the political world, an invitation is not an invitation. An invitation is an invitation to give money. If your candidate for state senator sends you an invitation, and it'll even have the word invitation on it, look further and it will say, do you want to be a $500 donor, a $300 donor, or a $100 donor? So if you plan to be a $0 donor, you're not going to be going to that reception. Now, if you go, and if you're going to be paying a donation to a campaign, be discreet. Money is a dirty little secret in our culture. Put your money or check in an envelope. Don't give it to the candidate or the senator or the governor. Please give it to his staff, chief of staff, or her chief of staff. And if you have a boyfriend, like I once did, that says, well, can I just go along because I don't really want to talk to anybody, but I want to, I need something to eat, break up with that boyfriend. It ain't worth it. That's rude. That is rude. Okay, business cards. Business cards are important. I love to study business cards. I like a good quality business card. Here's a whole bunch of them you can look at. Some of them stand out in more ways than others. You can decide for yourself how formal you want to be, how casual you want to be. Some are more artistic than others. I see some artists there. I see two cards that are not perfect rectangles. I see my card, which I think is real cute. So give some real planning on your business cards. And when you give someone a business card, don't spread them out like they're nothing. Treat it like it's an important thing, and do the same with when you're accepting a business card. This is my favorite business card holder. I think it's kind of classy. That's that Ironworks building in New York City. Okay, here's my business card rules. I like thick cardboard. I like a simple design. You're going to have to wait until the time is right to offer your business card. Put it in the person's hand right side up. Don't crunch up somebody else's business card with your napkins. Keep a separate pocket for those business cards. All right, being a good listener, super important. Don't sell. At least if you're going to sell, don't look like you're selling. Don't gather intelligence, or at least if you're there to gather intelligence, don't look like you're doing it. But do sell yourself. There's books on how to do this. Don't be like me and Carl Bernstein and just sound like the most boring person in the world. I took a listening class once, and it really stuck with me. And the gist of it was determine why the person is communicating with you. Is this person asking for information, approval, support? That they're not going to come out and say why they're asking you a question or why they're making a statement. And you can't say, why are you asking me that question? You have to listen and determine why and respond in an appropriate way. Okay, the ask. If you are there for a reason that is very important and things are going well, you need to go even further and move up to the ask. The ask is telling the person very graciously what you want. Here's 3 good examples. And the first one is one I use a lot in my work. Senator, can we count on you to support the Bay cleanup bill or whatever bill? You need for the senator to not only listen to you, but to say something. Why? Because in your thank you letter, you're going to say, Senator Edwards, thank you so much for agreeing to support that bill when we spoke. He may not want to put it in writing, but you can right after your talk. That's how you do it. Now, if it's fundraising, you're going to want to move the fundraising forward. My second item there tells you how to do that. If you're looking for a job, you're going to want to move things forward. You're not there just to pass the time away. You're doing your job. Thank you notes, very important. I like them on paper. I like them on good paper, and I like them prompt. There is, you'll see in there in the middle one is a thank you card that I got from Dave Barry, humorous columnist. I had a lot of funny correspondence with him, which I enjoyed. He always sends thank you notes, usually with something funny on it. Something funny is written there, but I'm not going to read it to you. So send your thank you notes. I used to, well, I still do sometimes, just designate one night a week for thank you notes. They've got to be soon. It's nice to put in something that can help them, like a newspaper clipping or a contact, and say, remember you were asking where you could find someone that buys antiques. Well, here's someone that I know. You know, put that in there. But don't make it sound like a form letter. Please customize your letter. Nix to greeting cards. We're not doing greeting cards. No pre-written greeting cards. Greeting cards are form letters. Okay, this is the painful part. Review your faux pas, and you bet your bottom dollar we all make them. I like to, right after the event, kind of mentally go through what I did, learn from it. Don't beat yourself up, because, and especially, you know, mixing up names, everybody has done that, you know. Unless you're a savant or something, you've gotten names mixed up. If it's something really, really super bad, you might have to send an apology. If it's in that area, then you've got to send it soon. But please, please know that it happens to all of us. Okay, I promised to tell you my faux pas. Oh, I don't want to thank you yet. Okay, my faux pas. All right, let me start with one. I don't have pictures. There's a legislator who shall be nameless. He's a tall man, totally bald. And there's a lobbyist who's a tall man, totally bald. Okay, the legislator's name is Todd. So I saw the lobbyist, whose name is Rob, at a reception, and I yell out in a voice much too loud, "Oh, hi, Todd." And Rob gave me a funny look, and it took me a while to realize I had gotten Rob and Todd confused, which might make them think, unfortunately, that all bald men look alike to me. They don't. I've worked on that, but that was a faux pas. Here's another faux pas. This one I did not do, but it's just so good that I'm going to tell it on my friend Bill. Bill was walking down the hall at his office place, and one of his staff members was walking toward him. There were other people in the hall, and the young man on the staff was African American. Let's say his name was John. And he said, "Bill, I'd like you to meet my wife." And Bill said, "Oh, I'd like to meet her sometime." Well, she was standing right beside him. She was a white woman. So Bill went into the faux pas history books, but everybody was able to laugh about that later. Okay, my last faux pas. This is a double whammy. I was going to a reception at the John Marshall Hotel. I was walking up the hill by the barber shop. I saw my friend Carlos in there standing. I went in, I just fussed over him for a long time until I realized right next to him was Governor McAuliffe. When I realized that, then I did a little fussing over Governor McAuliffe, and I went on to the reception. At the reception, I saw my friend Oliver, and I went up to talk to him. And while I was trying to talk to him, Oliver said, "I can't talk. I'm introducing the governor." And who should be right beside him that I had not even recognized was Governor McAuliffe. So I always seem to be doing things that are not great around Governor McAuliffe. Okay, my thank yous. Thank you to VPC and Gail Kent for asking me to do this. Fashions by Kim. Thank you for D. Atwood for insisting that I take an interest in etiquette. Thank you to my focus group, Martha Steger, Dan Begley, and Joe Green, even though I defied some of your advice. Thank you for David Bailey, my mentor. Thank you for Parent to Parent. That's where I took the listening class. Thank you to Jeffrey Trimmingham for the business advice. I can't read the last line on my screen, but it's thank you to John Karabek for technical support. Okay, I'm going to close this, and then you should see me on your screen. Do you see me on your screen? I hope you do. Oh, Gail is saying yes. Yes. Okay. You may have questions or comments, in which case they're very welcome. I'm hitting this chat thing, and yeah, it's red. Public view. Okay, this is good. Yes. Gotcha. All right. Hi, Gail. To list all available commands, enter quote / question mark quote. Oh, what does it mean to dress like an ice cream cone? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. That is from Judith Martin's book. Um, she is now known as Miss Manners, of course. But when she covered the White House, she said, much to the dismay of the president, that Julie and Tricia Nixon dress like ice cream cones. And then I started studying them and realizing, yes, they do. And by that I mean pastels, babyish things, lace, things that are reminiscent of ice cream cone sprinkles. Ribbons, a lot of ribbons, a lot of pastel ribbons. I associate all this with baby clothes. It's not a great look for a professional. Read her book. It's hysterical. My favorite part is where she talks about wanting to pick up a deviled egg and having to, it was in the center of the food table and having to lie across the table to reach it. That was not pretty. Okay, I see it's 2:55. I think I'll keep this up another few minutes. There is a delay often in the communication and with these webinars. So I'll give you all time to figure out if you want to try to chat. I hope I didn't make any horrible faux pas during my presentation. Okay, brief definition of that word that starts with a P. Yes, I certainly can. I heard that in a talk that was given to the women's lawyers group. And she gave a motivational speech, and she used that word, I'm trying to look at how it's spelled, proxemics, or something like that. So I got home and I Googled it. And I saw it's not in my note here, I saw just a wealth of information about how people communicate. Everything from studies on how close people stand to each other to eye contact and tone of voice. It's quite a big field of study. I think it would be helpful for all of us to read some of those studies. I think that now that there's a big interest in people with actual disabilities that affect social skills, it might become a useful tool. But that said, I also want to say very strongly, I'm not a person that is in favor that everybody should sort of learn rote things and act alike. It's, above all the rules, be yourself. Nothing's going to work unless you act like yourself. I think we would all agree with that. Okay, I see that it is 3 o'clock. I have enjoyed talking with you so much. I am going to shut down the screen, and I'll see you next time.